Bow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay.
This podcast was brought to you by Good At Studios. We're networking.
Jesse's Log, Episode 6, coming to you live and direct from New York City. It's Jesse's Log Live. Tonight's guests are Beyonce, and we got Mariah Carey, and we got Janet Jackson. Do you hear that all-star lineup? Whoa, 3 people. All right, how you doing? The city of Chicago is silly. It's a silly bitch, if I can say that. I know there's a lot of, 2-year-olds listening, but please, this language deserves to be spoken with. So, raise of hands, how many of you out there are familiar with the BP oil spill? 1, 2. Okay, so a good amount of you, right? Okay, so the BP oil spill, basically, British Petroleum walked over to the Gulf of Mexico, kicked over a bucket. What they didn't know, the bucket was filled with their own oil, right? Silly BP, right? So there's oil everywhere. One tactic they did was to burn the oil. And if you watch the video of them burning the oil and saying, look, no oil on the water, it's actually pretty funny. Because when you see the oil being burnt and leaving the water, I'm sure some people are going to say, oh, cool, no more oil in the water. But then if you look at where the fire, the smoke, whatever the combustion of oil and fire is, going up into the sky, CO2, maybe, I don't know, that's a word I know. Am I right? And it goes into the sky, and it's black, and it's nasty. No racism intended, folks. And, just nasty shit going into the sky from the burning of oil. So that's really funny, because they're like, all right, oil in the water, let's burn it. Now it's in the sky. First of all, with that, now the sky is shitty with oil, or whatever the combustion of oil is. And 2, that's just going to get back into the clouds, which when it rains is just going to go right back into the ocean. So really, you're not really getting rid of it. What you're doing is, well, physically speaking, you can't really get rid of something. You only put it somewhere else. So yeah, technically that has to happen. So yeah, you take the oil from the water, then you put it in the sky, and then partially it's going to stay in the sky and I don't know, be bad or something. And then the other part is just going to go back into the water, which is going to be bad. So anyway, that happened. Not what I'm talking about, but that happened. And in the city of Chicago, everywhere, I live near a park, right? Next to that park is a little creek, river, lake, ocean, a body of water, whatever you want to call it, right? And it's dirty as fuck, as all Chicago water is. It's green, if you don't live in Chicago. It's verde, okay, if you live in Chicago. Yeah, the water is verde, and some people are going to see verde water, and they're going to say, whoa, that should be, cleaned or something, because isn't, water supposed to be, blue? Wait, isn't it supposed to be, clear? Whoa, isn't it supposed to be, clear blue or something? Not verde and dirty? And to that, I suppose you could be correct. So what they're doing is they're doing a water cleanup. What that entails, I have no idea. There's a giant oil rig looking thing in the water. Also, a large portion of the park where people jog and walk their dogs and play because it's grass is cut off and blocked off by a big-ass fence where there's a tarp that you can't see through it. I never understand why they put the tarp. Like, what are you doing back there that we can't see? Like, if I wanted to, I could find out. I could, like, jump and look over. Why do you not want me to see what's going on? Either way, if you just walk on the bridge, you could see everything that's going on. And they chopped, well, I guess, I just thought about this. Okay. They chopped down all the trees, right? So if you knew there was trees there, and you just look above the fence, you'll see that there's no trees. But either way, I want to see what the fuck's going on. Anyway, they tore down all the trees, and that reminded me of the BP oil spill. They say, hey, the water is bad, let's tear down these trees, or whatever they're doing, whatever the reason is for tearing down the trees, why ever they did that to fix the water. They're killing nature. The trees are nature. They're killing the trees. I don't know if you're killing the tree by chopping it halfway, or if you have to dig it out the root. Maybe the tree will grow back, But if it does, like, why just chop it down anyway? Whatever. So you killed the tree, right? Or you snaked it, chopping off its body. Either way, you hurt a tree, okay? That's a living, breathing thing. You hurt it. Chicago, not nice. So, yeah, the water's bad. Kill some trees. That's funny. Hurt one nature to fix the other. I don't even know I might have to Google it. I might have to just wait 30 years to find out, But yeah, I have no idea how chopping down the trees is gonna make the water cleaner. I don't know what the big rig in the water is. Maybe it's like a filter thing. Maybe, okay, guys, maybe they're not really cleaning the water, and they're digging for oil, okay, because the corporate fat cats want the oil. That's, next to Horner Park, Whatever. What else did I want to talk about, Also, what I was thinking about was a way that if you want to say things that may be considered racist and get away with it is, let's say, what are some races we can be mad at? Let's say this Indian guy, right, cuts you off in traffic. And you want to go tell your friends or your coworkers or your slaves or whoever you talk to, right? Tell them about this Indian person. And in the past, other Indian people have cut you off. And you've noticed that's somewhat of a trend to the point that, hey, it's stereotypical. And you don't want to, make people think you're a racist and walk over there and be like, yo, these fucking Indians always cutting me off, they don't know how to drive. Let's say you want to do that, right? But you don't want to say the Indian part because you might sound racist. This is what you do. You switch whatever race it is with white people, right? It doesn't even, it has, we already know that there's not even stereotypes because they're really dumb. And I think stereotypes have to do with, actual data, maybe. I don't know. But just the things that people say as cheap jokes for whatever reason, I'm trying not to go with the typical Asian people, white rice, black people, chicken, Mexicans, taco. I'm trying not to say those. Maybe Ecuadorians and, what is it, guinea pigs, hamsters, whatever they are. Ecuadorians eat guinea pigs. So let's say that. So instead of saying, oh, these fucking Indians are cutting me off, or, oh, these fucking guinea pig eating Ecuadorians, or these, what's another thing people don't like about people who have a race? These fighting Irish, you know what I'm saying? Instead of saying things like that, just switch it out Wait, Irish is white people. Okay, whatever. All right, we got 2. We don't need 3 people. What are you, greedy? All right, we got 2. Instead of saying, these fucking Indians cutting me off, or instead of saying, these fucking Ecuadorians eating guinea pigs, you just replace that with white people, right? So this is what you say. You go to the funeral. Everyone's like, why are you late, dude? What the fuck? Your cousin's dying or dead here, and you're late to that, blah, blah, blah. Just be like, you know what, these fucking white people cut me off, and blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't matter if you're white, doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if whatever race you are. You could be a turtle saying this, okay? No one's gonna be like, whoa, dude, easy on white people, man. Or like, whoa, you're racist, bro, talking about white people. Because talking about white people has become politically correct to do, right? Let me give you an example, okay? Remember that crazy looking white dude who like commentated sports or whatever? And when he said nappy headed hoes, people thought he was racist. People thought it was a big deal or whatever, right? Never once, except for one time on a comment on a World Star music video called White Bitches Like to Party, has anyone ever said, whoa, you know what? You're subjecting white people, because whenever you like make fun of white people, you say, white people can't jump, white people can't dance, white people are lame, white people are stupid, white people are anything. You talk about white people, no one's gonna bat an eyelash. Even a group full of white people, if a black person walks in, it's like, you fucking white people, blah, blah. You just gotta stand there and be like, whoa, she's like yelling, that's pretty crazy, right? But if someone says this fucking black dude cut me off, everyone's gonna be like, whoa, is it gonna be black, blah, blah, blah. So either way, the politically correct thing to do, to be racist, this is a tip to all you racists out there. If you want to be racist, the politically correct thing to do is swap whatever your race you're talking about and just change it to white people. And no one can tell you anything. Because if you say, oh, these fucking white people with the red dots between their head, driving these fucking taxis, running these fucking 7-Elevens, blah, 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 everyone is just going to be like, white people, are you sure you're not talking about Indonesians or whatever? And then you're going to be like, what? Indonesians? No, they're not white. They're perfect, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, the fucking white people with the dots and the taxis and the 7-Elevens. Fuck all the white people. So, that was a tip out there to you people, right? But also, what I was talking about, I don't know if I completed it, but all the time in rap, about the dude who said nappy-headed hoes, all the time in rap songs, there have been so many rap songs. There's a new term for a girl who gives blowjobs called Becky, and that's a white girl. There's songs like White Bitches Love to Party, right? All the rappers always talk about having white girls, and the white girls will do anything, and all that about white girls. There's the NBA players and blah, blah, they get white girls. Always in the movies, the white people are always the lamest fucking people. You can do these things, and no one's gonna really say anything. But if a white guy doesn't even say these fucking black nappy-headed hoes, all he has to say is nappy-headed hoes, and they immediately go, you know what, this guy's insulting all of African Americans. You know what I'm saying? And I know, I'm going to talk about this, okay? I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this. I was in class, drama class, right? And we had to write a script, doing a skit on a social thing that we don't feel is right. Like, of course, well, I feel like marijuana should be legalized, so let's talk about that. Or, I feel like gay people should be getting married. So let's talk about, all the typical bullshit that people like, yeah, that's what's wrong with society. Weed's illegal and so is being gay. That's the bad shit. Let's talk about that. As if those aren't things that are even questionable. There's unquestionable things that are prohibited because of old backward societies having an influence on old motherfuckers that still run the fucking countries or whatever, man. Time will tell, and soon enough their sons or grandsons will have enough sense to say, yeah, those fucking old people are dumb as shit. Why not get married? Why not smoke weed? Why not? I don't even know what else is illegal that anyone gives a shit about. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're told to bring up a social topic. And of course, somebody's got to be like racism. And of course that person was me. Because I feel that racism is the biggest problem in the world. And you can disagree with me all you want, man. But at the end of the day, if I think something and you think otherwise, then you're wrong. And in your eyes, I'm wrong. And that's how the fucking world works, unless you change your mind. So, what I said was, well, I want to do something on racism. And instead of doing the typical, oh, the fucking cop beat the black guy, or the white lady, pulled the son away from the black guy, or whatever, I wanted to do something that actually happens all the fucking time, and no one ever talks about, that pisses me off all the time. Could be because I'm not racist, or could be because I'm not against being attracted to African American women, or Assyrian women, or fucking whatever other races are out there that white people go ugh to. You know what I'm saying? I say this is the idea I had to do a drama sketch over, right? I was saying that a dude was describing the perfect girl to his friends, blah, blah, blah. And then the friends are like, oh, dude, I know this girl, blah, blah, blah. Her name's like Charlene or whatever, And the guy's like, oh, cool, let me see her, blah, blah, blah. So they go to her Facebook page, and the girl's black, and the guy goes, oh, nah, I'm not into black girls. And to me, that's racist to say, no, I'm not into black girls. Like, I talk to dudes all the time, and how I test if they're racist or not, I'll say, hey, dude, like, would you fuck a black girl? Like, hey, are you into black girls, blah, blah, blah. And 9 out of 10 times, whether they're white, black, Middle Eastern, Asian, no, ugh, I wouldn't fuck a black girl, ugh, gross, black skin, ew, that's nasty, blah, blah, blah. And to me, that's racist, right? And to the white people, that wasn't racist. To the white guy, no, that's not racist to say that you just don't want a black girl. That's preference. That's simply preference. You have a preference to people who aren't black. Incorrect. That is racist. Preference has nothing to do with whether you're racist or not. KKK members have a preference. That doesn't change whether they're racist or not, right? And what I thought was funny was the white teacher. She goes, yeah, I agree. I don't think that's racist to say, no, I don't want her because she's black. No, it's not right. That is preference. Yeah, he just doesn't like to date or go out with black people. Yeah, that's preference. That's not racism. That's the dumbest shit ever. Because, and it's the same for fucking the girls who wear the thing over their head because they are Muslim or whatever, they say, hey, would you fuck them? Hey, would you fuck her? Blah, blah, blah. No, dude. Oh, gross. Ugh, gross. It's not even, because even I've said, sometimes a girl is so white that you can just see her veins. And to me, that's gross. I will admit that I like darker skin, right? People like tanned people, right? People always talk about how they don't like gingers, right? I wouldn't say that I hate or I would never fuck a girl with really, really white skin. But I would say I prefer the darker ones. So I understand preference if you say no, regardless of her being African American or not, I'm just not into how dark her skin is. If you say that, okay, preference. You're not into dark skin. But to say no because she's black, not as in her skin is black, because there's lighter tones, darker tones of every single race, right? There's Albanians who are dark, right? No, I've never heard someone say, like I say, oh no, her skin tone is a little dark, or it's a little too light. I always hear, ugh, gross. No, a black girl? No, I wouldn't. And to say, ugh, gross, a black girl, as in that's her ethnicity, that's how she looks, that's, what she is, her identity is black person, gross, that's racism, Sure, your preference is to not have a black person, but that's still racism. Your preference is based on your racism. And after saying this, I want to speak upon what racism is to me, because my dumbass fucking drama teacher wanted to say, well, let me define to you what racism is. Racism is when you have, what'd she say, that fucking, where you discriminate or whatever. She said some fucking word against a person because of their ethnicity. Blah, blah, blah. And incorrect. That's not what racism is. I've heard some dumb people say racism is just between white and black people because they don't think outside of their education, and all we ever learn about in school when it comes to racism is the fucking slavery, post-slavery, and that's it. That's all we hear about. Slavery, post-slavery in the United States. That's all we learn about racism. So people just, they have no idea because they don't learn this stuff, right? Racism, simply to put it, is when you categorize people by race, right? That's just what it is. And so we're all racist, right? If you look at a person and you say, that person's Asian, right? That's racism. If you look at a person with dark skin and you say, well, that's a black person, right? That's racism. We're all humans, right? So to put races to people, right? Even we're the human race, That's racism. We're saying that we're distinctly different from fucking wolves. And then if you're saying you're Asian, you're saying you're distinctly different from fucking people from Africa, from people from Brazil, from people from Ireland, shit like that, right? And some people seem to think that, well, there's like 5 races. There's Middle Eastern, there's Asian, there's black, there's white, and there's Latino, right? There's different countries, there's different villages, there's different streets in this world, right? Based on where you grow up, where the people around you grew up, where you're from, where your culture, what area your culture was created in, that's your race, right? And the world has become so diverse and cultures have mixed so much. Races become very, very less distinguished. And due to ignorance across the world, people seem to think that racism has to do with your skin. And incorrect. See, people. All right, I'm going to talk about what we were all educated about, unless you're not from fucking wherever I was educated, right? Black people were slaves, and then they weren't slaves, and then they were hated by white people. And then in between, there's people from Mexico who want to come in and cross the border, blah, blah, blah. That's basically what we learn racism is, or whatever I learned, right? Maybe you have a wonderful education or a worse one, right? So people seem to think that in America, in the poverty areas, there's black people because white people don't like black people, or white people didn't like black people because they were black solely because of the color of their skin. Doesn't that make sense? There's no difference between the two, right? And let me explain this to you. And if you're not understanding, then I don't know. Sorry I haven't developed a fucking class about this. But let's show you something, okay? So when America was being founded by whoever the fuck found it, I don't know the guy's name. Christopher Columbus just thought of it. I do know the guy's name, but there was more. There's more people who discovered America. You know, there's people who came to America, right? And said, oh, new land. Oh, no government to govern me. Well, I'm not going to plant all these seeds and mow all these lawns by myself. I need someone to do it for me. I know. Let's go back to where we come from and get some deals on some slaves. Right, guys? Come on. And in Africa, where there were slaves and slave owners, and for the low, for the cheap, you know what I'm saying? You don't go to Spain for slaves. Apparently, you know, just like you go to eBay for the phone cases, you know? You went to Africa for the slaves. They had the deals, you know? And in Africa, because it's sunnier there, people were darker, right? There was less shade. People were darker, okay? So the slave owners, they sold their slaves who happened to have darker skin than Europeans, right? Or the Northern Europeans. They had darker skin. That was just due to the sun. It wasn't due to God making them lesser of people or whatever other people think. And then they just happened to be there. So then the people who were looking for slaves bought the slaves, right? And then they brought them to America. And since the about 99.999% of the people who were slaves had black skin, that's how you identified the slaves, right? Whoa, you're a Spaniard who or you're I don't know, a British person with nice clothes building a house. You're not a slave, right? Oh, look at those fucking people with no clothes looking like they're starving. And they're mowing lawns or whatever. Oh, they're the slaves, right? Oh, they also have the black skin. That's how you identify them, right? They're the slaves. And then fast forward years, everyone grows up. Oh, yeah, the black people are the ones who are the slaves. Yeah, you go to Africa, get the deals, get the slaves, bring them back. Those are the ones who are the slaves, yeah. And then slavery ends, right? Who's mad, right? The white people, because they don't have slaves. And white people are the ones with the slaves because they're not the slaves, right? They're the black people. Even black people had slaves. But we're talking about majority here, people. That's how we vote, you know? We don't go by, we don't listen to the minorities, you know what I'm saying? So then everyone says, okay, there's the lower class. They're the people who we resent because they used to do our work for free, and now they want rights all of a sudden. Those are the black people. So who do we hate, right? The black people. And then, so then you reject them from society. You don't allow them to progress or get as high as you, aka a white person, okay? So now, black people, not because they're black, right? It's not because they're black. It's because they're the people who were the slaves. And they were the lower class. The people who were below you. But now all of a sudden we're equal. I'm equal to a person who used to rake my lawn for free, and I would decide whether they got to eat and who they would fuck, and I would kill their children and kill them, and it wouldn't even be a law. No one cares about you. That type of person. It's that person. It's not, oh, that's a black person, he's less. It's that there was a person that was less, and the way you identify them was they were black. You see what I'm saying? It's not because their skin is black. It's because black is how you identified that lower class person. They were the ones who are the lower class, right? So because they were rejected from society and white society, whatever, and they were not given equal opportunities, right? They obviously act differently. They speak differently. They do different things. They have different cultures because they didn't have the same culture as the majority of the fucking people, aka the white people. And they also didn't act the same as the people who ran shit and were in charge of shit and made decisions and made laws and made up the fucking school system and did all that shit because that was the white people, right? So when we talk about people who hate black people, right? They may say, it's the fucking 'cause of the color of their skin. They're black, they're different, right? That's just because they're dumb. They don't understand that the reason isn't because you're black. It's because you represent the downfall of the social system where white people were on top and they had slaves and they were better than you, and now that you're equal, they're mad. Okay? Because they want slaves. And you were identified by your skin color. But it's not because of your skin color. Okay? And yeah, that's just what it is. So I understand why it's politically correct to say bad things about white people, right? Because in America, they're the ones who run this shit, right? They're the ones who they've been on top, guys. You know, and you know, as long as most of the as long as only 2 or 3 billionaires are black and like the rest are white and Middle Easterners who own oil, right? As long as in America all the rich people are white and they all know each other and they all respect each other, as long as that happens, there's not really much to complain about as a white person, you know? So that's just my thoughts, you know? I also have something down when I was talking about races by your country, city, or block. I was gonna say that's the reason why, I don't know if you guys know about gangs, but there's Latin Kings, right? That started as a gang of Latin people, protecting other Latin people because of ignorant people who do violence based on skin color and race and just being different because you and me are equal, but I don't want to be equal. I want to be better than you, so I'm mad at you. Shit like that. That's why that gang was formed. And now there's Latin Kings who are black, they're white, they're Middle Eastern, they're Asian, you know, because it's not about being Latin anymore. It's just being a person, a part of this group, you know. It's the reason why the gangster disciples who were originally all black. Now there's Mexicans in there, there's Asian people, because it's not about skin color, it's not about your original culture, because America's the melting pot, people, and we all combine into just we're back to just being humans. You know what I'm saying? We're coming back to just being human. Instead of this fucking shit where we were all human, then we all migrated different areas, we all learned different shit, we all did different stuff, and then we came together and said, you're different, you're different, you're different, you're different. After so many years of saying you're different, there's people who don't reject differences, right? They embrace them and they want to become one. They want to learn from your culture and then take your culture and combine it, and then there's one culture, That's what the fuck the melting pot is. So after so many years of saying you're different, you're gay, you can't get married, you want to do drugs, you can't do that, you're black, you can't have this job. After so many years of people saying you're different, I hate you, eventually it's you're different, I'm curious, you're different, let me embrace you. You're different, I'm different, let's create one thing. Eventually, there's so much differences and people on their one side saying you're different, you're different. We all combine back into our one thing, and I feel that that's the natural evolution of humans. We all originated in one area, we all migrated, we all learned, and now we're coming back together and we're combining all of our minds and our cultures and the things that we've learned and found out, and we're back to just being human, smarter. We can't all go from Africa to Ireland, okay? Let's wear kilts here. And then we go to then we go to Asia, okay? Let's eat the cuttlefish or whatever, Now let's go to Brazil, let's have big butts or whatever. All right, let's go to America. All right, hot dogs, Instead of doing that, right? You go there, you go there, you go there, you go there. All right, let's all meet back in the middle. Well, I don't know. Wherever you want to meet up, right? America, because it's the melting pot here, Maybe somewhere in London there's a melting pot, But we all spread out in the beginning. We all came back together. And like I said, I'm going to reiterate because not only did I not think of this before, and this is a moment of clarity, but also I want to make it a point of emphasis, We all started at one place, right? We were all human. We all spread out. We became, these are the Africans, these are the Irish, these are the Scottish, these are the Pakistanis, these are the Iraqis, these are the Japanese, these are the Chinese. And then we're all coming together. And at first, of course, we'll go, you're different. You eat that way, you eat this, you eat that, you talk like this, you talk like that. We're not gonna, fully accept each other as a mass group at first, You're different, I don't like you, I want to change you. And then eventually, you're different, I'm different too, let's make one. And we're just all evolving back into, instead of you're black, you're white, you're Asian, you're Middle Eastern, because that's what it is, right? Before, hey, you're Irish, let me conquer you. Hey, you're Belgish or whatever from Belgium, let me conquer you, right? We're all sort of melting in our own areas, right? So now you're American, you're not just Virginian, right? You're European, you're not just from Paris, you're not just from London, you're not whatever. Or you're Asian, you're not just Chinese, you're not Japanese. We're slowly going from the thousands or whatever of different races into the 5, like I said, black, white, Latin or Hispanic, and Asian and Middle Eastern, right? Those are the 5 basically right now that we all like to differentiate ourselves. Of course, there's subsectors, but we don't all know them. And then eventually, we're all just going to combine back into human, and instead of being the original humans who are ignorant and just in that one place, since we've all spread out and learned different things, we're going to come back as humans. But we're all going to know what it is like to be in different places, and we're going to have all the knowledge in the world, right? Because we took it from different sectors, and we also learned from it, and we also compromised. We also took out things. We've also learned from our own cultures and what is good and what is bad, and eventually we're going to combine into a big utopia, okay? That's what's going to happen. Mark my words. And if you don't believe me, only time will tell. And if you don't see it, then you're going to die. And after that, someone else is going to see it. And if that person doesn't see it, they're going to die, right? Time will tell. And we're not old enough for it to be told to us sometimes. And because of that, we just take what we know now and we accept it as fact. That's why people who love science so much have their fucking heads up their asses, right? And they can say, well, ghosts aren't real, spirits aren't real, God isn't real, blah, blah. They can say it. I'm not saying this because I'm not a religious person, right? But people seem to think that they have the answers and they know what things are because they've learned or found out things leading up to right now. They take all the information that's known, right? And they say, okay, this is my decision right now. This is what it is. There is a Jesus. There isn't a Jesus, right? There is a black hole. There isn't, whatever. They think they're right because based on the information they have, to them it proves that they're right. And I'm the type of person where, of course, you're right if you make yourself seem right, right? Of course, 1 + 1 = 2 if that's the system you made up, where that's how it works out, right? Of course, there's not ghosts because your machine can't say definitely yes or no, right? Of course, there isn't ghosts because this mathematical equation or this physics rationale that you live your life by says that there isn't, right? Because we create a system for ourselves and then we rationalize it out to prove to ourselves that the system we made up is correct. And all you can do, right? You can think differently, or you can learn more, or maybe that information just isn't for you, Some animals can see different spectrums of light or whatever, Maybe ghosts are in that light, and since it's just not in our senses to see that we don't think there's ghosts or whatever. Maybe there aren't ghosts, I don't know, because I don't have all the information. And even if I did have all the information in the world that's possible to be known by me, there's information that isn't possible to be known. Or there's information that hasn't shown itself yet, right? I can't say whether I'm right or wrong for anything. I can have a theory, right? I have a theory that that's the evolution of people, that we're all going to become one. And it's going to be a utopia because we've learned, But that's so not right now that people are going to say, well, that's crazy because that hasn't happened yet, right? But that's the thing. It hasn't happened yet. So how can you say no? And you're going to say, well, it hasn't happened yet. How can you say yes? Well, because I believe. And you don't believe, right? That's just how it works, I'm right to me. You're right to you. There isn't one right or wrong because I believe and you don't. That's the only difference between right and wrong is you believe and I don't. There's no actual facts, Everything is just based on a rationale that we set up so we can say, yeah, I'm right or yeah, I'm wrong. There's no actual right or wrong, Whew. How long was that college lecture? Only 10 hours. That's not bad, On a lighter note, there's just, something I wanted to say. That I came up, sometimes since the invention of Twitter and memes and whatever, you always see inspirational quotes, right? Muhammad Ali, they asked him how many sit-ups can you do? And he was like, I don't start counting until it hurts. What an amazing quote, right? And there's certain quotes that other people have or whatever. They have quotes, right? Buddha has quotes. There's all these quotes that people tattoo on themselves. They read to themselves every day. You know, they're cool. But the thing about interesting quotes is that you can't just be a normal guy who makes up a quote. Like, I make up cool quotes. What's something I said? No, I didn't write it down. But, you know, I'm always thinking of like a cool inspirational quote. Oh yeah, I was thinking of one. Well, while I was walking home in the rain. I was like, the bad things are just a preface to the main story, because no book doesn't have a happy ending, or something like that. I was on my phone, I was typing it 30 different ways, trying to make it the perfect inspirational quote. You know, the bad things are now, but don't worry, because it's just setting you up for success. You know, it's just setting you up for a happy story. That was basically what I was trying to say. And the thing about quotes is, I would love to say something inspirational, and 30 years from now, someone has a picture of me and just fucking goes on Photoshop and types in the letters and then puts it on Twitter, and I get 1 million retweets. You know, I would fucking love that. But the thing about quotes is, because of Twitter and Facebook and shit like that, people don't realize that you have to actually do something so that what you say actually matters, right? The reason Muhammad Ali has a cool quote like that is because he did an interview or he wrote a book or something. The reason Einstein has quotes is because he writes books. The reason Will Smith has amazing quote, right? If you ever seen Inside the Actor's Studio with Will Smith, he'll say an inspirational thing like, you know, if I'm on the treadmill, I will die before you beat, stuff like that. Just talking about hard work. The reason people have quotes or inspirational speeches or whatever, the reason people quote Martin Luther King and Stephen Biko and Malcolm X is because they write books, they write articles, you know, they publish things, they give speeches, they get interviews, and they're asked questions and they say these amazing things. I'm just a normal fucking guy, right? So if I think of something that's really inspirational and original, I can't just tweet it, you know, and expect to go down in history. And that's what's really funny about quotes, is I'll spend so much time thinking of an inspirational little sentence, right? Something that means something, you know. And then I was thinking, I was like, you know, for this quote to just maybe become famous, I would have to write an amazing book or direct an amazing movie, right? Where this quote is said, and then that has to become famous, and then it has to I have to cultivate a big following for anyone to ever quote the amazing thing I said. And I just thought that it was really funny, because I've spent hours thinking about, even when I write blogs, just hours thinking about the best possible way to something. Just thinking that it will spark enough inspiration in someone's mind, and hopefully one day they'll, you know, I remember this dude, I read his work, it was really inspirational. Here's this quote that he said, and the way he phrased it just got me past whatever I was doing, or it made me think of something new. This is what it is, you know, and they'll say whatever I said, and that to me, just one person saying, Jesse Whitmore wrote this in a blog he posted 30 years ago, and I still think about it to this day. That's amazing, right? That's amazing. People tattoo fucking sentences or whatever from the book. John 3:16 is everywhere. Whoever wrote John 3:16, that okay. It's not God. God didn't write the Bible. Whoever wrote John 3:16, whoever wrote uh, you know, whatever they say Buddha says on Twitter posts. Whoever writes whatever quotes are out there that even get misquoted by people, just the flattery of someone loving what you say so much that they get it tattooed, or that they put it on a picture of the northern lights or just amazing landscape, and they put it on their Instagram and say, "Good morning, this is my inspirational speech," or they put it on Twitter, like, "Wow, this is deep," or they have a poster of it on their wall, or they go to church and they say, "You know what? I know you're going through some things, and just think about this thing that I read somewhere. This quote right here. It always gets me through a day." I wish that could be me, and that's the reason why I spend so much time thinking about the way I write things or the way I say things. And it's funny that I spend so much time caring about a single sentence or two sentences, because I feel like that pretty much sums up my life. I have so many ideas. There's so many things I want to do, but at the end of the day, I don't do them, right? I record videos, I've recorded podcasts, I've typed poems, I've typed short stories, I've done so many blogs, I've done so many things, and I don't publish the blogs, I don't publish the videos, I don't publish the poems, I don't publish the podcasts, I don't put these things out. Or I have amazing idea. I have notes upon notes. I have gallon buckets full of just notebook paper that I've written ideas on, or things that have inspired me, and then they go nowhere. There's so much that I want to create, and I just don't do it. And I think that connects to my quotes thing. I spend so much time trying to figure out how to phrase the last sentence of a blog perfectly, or phrase my tweet perfectly, to make it inspirational and something that someone can find something in, just inspiration, or just just basically inspiration to feel something, or to get a new idea, or think of things in a new perspective. I spend so much time working on that. And at the end of the day, it's not enough to be noticed. I can make the greatest inspirational quote I can. I can write the best short story that makes the whole world reflect on themselves. The 20-hour speech I just gave about racism and race and how we're all going to combine into one person. If that was on Joe Rogan's podcast, it would get I don't know if this is me just loving what I say so much, but if Joe Rogan said it, or if I said it on Joe Rogan's podcast, or if it was in a book somewhere, I guarantee you, right? I guarantee you, people out there would now think of the world in a different light. They would now think of racism in a different way. Or if not, they connected to me, whether they rejected it or loved it. They connected to me because they understood how another person thinks on something. And that's just what it is. In an inspirational quote, you just hear someone else's perspective, and it either inspires you to be like, yeah, I feel the same way, or it inspires you to create your own quote to live by, something like that. And yeah, I just spend so much time thinking about how to say things, and so much time thinking about why I want to say things the way I do, that at the end of the day, I'm not really saying much. I can I can give the best podcast ever, talking about how to make society a utopia, how to make everyone happy. I can write a blog about how to truly find happiness. I can write a mathematical equation and find the right chemicals or whatever to cure every disease known to man. You know, I can do these amazing things, but it's not going to make an impact because I don't do enough to where someone can look into my catalog and find it. You know, I put so much effort into the things I do that at the end of the day, I don't do much because I want everything to be perfect, you know? And Muhammad Ali didn't stand in the gym his whole life practicing. He went out there and won fights and dominated boxing. And then people praised him and asked him what he thought about things, and he said it. You know, people who write books, they don't just think about their sentences and what they want to say. They say it and they publish it and they give it to the world, and they do it so much that eventually they're going to get noticed by somebody and then noticed by another person, and then that spreads, and they have such a wide catalog that anything they say can be inspiring to somebody. Instead of me, who works so hard on a sentence or two and then might not even publish it, or if I do publish it, I don't publish anything else for another 3 months because I'm just mentally draining myself trying to think of the best way to say something else, and then it just never catches fire. I can have the greatest mind in the world, right? The most inspiring things, the greatest things that anyone can praise me for or read and be inspired by and connect to me, right? I can write the best novel in the world, but if that's all I produce, if all you produce is the best thing ever one time, it's not going to catch fire and go down in history. You either if all you produce is the best, you either produce everything, or even if all you produce is something mediocre, then you have to publish that. You know what I'm saying? You know, the greatest chef isn't the person who makes the greatest meal once. The greatest chef is someone who makes amazing meals all the time. And I think, you know, talking about it just now, I've learned that, you know, since I've spoken it out loud. I now understand myself as I'm saying this, and hopefully I've inspired myself to be a better person and be more productive and actually publish the things that I write, because I care about my writing. I care about things that I say. I care about my opinion on things. I just care, you know, and it doesn't show that I care because I have 1,000 blogs typed up or 1,000 ideas written down, because none of them are published. But if you know, I start publishing and I get on my grind, you know what I'm saying, and I have to force myself to become what I want to be. You know, I can't just tweet an inspiring sentence and expect to go down in history. I have to do amazing things to get a following, and then hopefully in 180 years someone's going to be sitting in their English class and 30 kids are going to go, "Oh, I fucking hate reading this guy. It's so stupid," or whatever. And then one kid just reads what I have to say, and his life has changed, and now he wants to care about his mind and thinks that what he says actually matters in this world where, you know, at the end of the day, nothing really matters. You die and it's like nothing ever existed, because all you have is the way that you see, you know. I can die today. My mother, to her, she'll still be alive, but to me, she won't be, because I'm gone. And before I go, you know, of course I want to be the guy who goes, who people refer to as a great mind, or to find inspiration from. Just like I read Siddhartha when I need to get my hopes up. You know, some people read the Bible when they're feeling down and they need inspiration. You know, people do that, and I want to be the person that people go to for inspiration. And for me to do that, I'm going to have to work hard. And since I know that now, I'm going to go ahead and publish this. So I hope I've inspired you in some way, and if I haven't, then hopefully something will, because I'm going to keep working. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Good at Studios, your new home for creativity. So what are you good at? Come join the team. We're networking.